Good day, everyone. So let's have this brand new topic under the reinforced concrete design. So actually, this topic, which is about T-beams, this is subtopic under non-rectangular beams. However, on this topic, we will apply some code provisions and also the typical formula that you can use in solving T-beams. So of course, kapag sinabi nating T-beams, basically, this is in a form of a T, no? So, kumbaga yung itsura ng beam natin ay pa letter T. However, kasi class, kaya nabuo ang T-beam kasi nga, kino-consider natin na ang isang rectangular beam at isang monolithic slab or isang slab only is nag-act na siya as a monolithic system. Ibig sabihin lang po nun, iisa na po na gumagana itong section na 'to, both functioning yung ating beam and then yung ating slab, okay? Kaya very important dito yung keyword na monolithic pour. Ibig sabihin po nun, on the actual site, so naporma na po yung beam, tapos na meron na siyang rebar and also nakaabang na rin yung forma for the slab. So pagdating ng concrete pouring is iisa na po. Kumbaga class, isasabay na po yung pagbuhos between the slabs and then yung ating beam. So kapag na-curing na po siya, so doon na po mabubuo yung one system for the beam and slab. However kasi, meron tayo ditong tinatawag na effective width so that we can consider this section as a T-beam. So of course, hindi lang puro pa letter T yung magiging itsura ng ating cross-section. Possible kasi na maging ganito rin yung itsura natin, no? So mukha siyang letter L, no? So meron tayong mga code provisions na kailangan natin i-consider so that we can determine what is the effective width. So that kapag pagdating natin ng analysis, alam natin kung gaano kalapad yung magiging effective width natin, no? So, let's proceed in our code provision. So, dito na natin pag-uusapan yung code provision sa T-beam geometry, lalo na when we are considering a monolithic pour. So, sige. So, under this section 406.3.2, which is the T-beam geometry, sinasabi lang dito sa section po 406.3.2.1 for non-pre-stressed T-beam supporting monolithic or composite slabs, the effective flange B sub F shall include in the beam web width or B sub U plus an effective overhanging flange with the accordance with the table 406.3.2.1 where H is the slab thickness and S sub W is a clear distance to the adjacent web. So, para maintindihan natin yan, so ibig sabihin lang na to sa code provision na to, dito natin kino-consider kung ano yung magiging effective width natin. Especially on what you call effective flange width. Actually, dito sa ating discussion, magkakaroon tayo kasi dito ng dalawang klaseng width. So, flange width tsaka web width. No? So, in conjunction with this provision, meron din tayong gagamiting mga tables. So these are the tables para makuha natin yung tinatawag na overhanging flange or yung magiging width sa labas ng ating rectangular beam. So para maintindihan natin to, what we can do here, I will show you the simplified version of this provision. No? So we will have two kinds of effective flange width. First, sa interior beam. Pangalawa naman ay yung tinatawag na exterior beam. Kapag sinabi nating interior beam, ang ibig sabihin lang po niyan class is yung mga beam na nasa loob ng ating structure. Such as this one. No? So this one ay example ng interior beam. Kapag sinabi naman nating exterior beam, from the word itself, lahat ng beam that exposed to weather, no? Such as this one. Or yung mga beam na nasa katuluhan ng ating structure. So, paano nga ba natin makukuha yung tinatawag na effective flange width? Kapag sinabi nating effective flange width, ibig sabihin lang po niyan, yan po yung width ng ating T-beam na kung saan kasama na dito yung ating overhang, effective overhang po natin or yung mga excess na naka-extend po sa ating rectangular beam. Okay? So, Dito sa top portion, tawag natin dyan ay flange width. Yung nasa baba or yung part ng mismong rectangular section natin, ang tawag natin dyan ay web, no? So web width, no? So medyo nakakabulol lang siyang banggitin, no? So anyway, ganito ang magiging interpretation natin 'yan. So kapag tayo ay nasa interior beam, ibig sabihin lang nito yung nasa loob ng ating structural system, dapat ang makukuha nating overhang flange dito, which is smallest among these three factors. First is the 8 times of the thickness of the slab. Okay, so yan yung una nating condition. The second one naman is the clear span between beams. Then you need to divide it by 2. So kapag sinabi natin clear span, ibig sabihin lang po nun is the interior distance between the faces of our beam. Hindi center to center, hindi dulo to dulo, kundi yung nasa interior lang po natin. And lastly, yung clear span naman nung length ng ating beam. So this one is clear span or clear length over 8. So of course, since tayo ay nasa interior beam, kailangan din i-consider mo rin yung nasa kabila, which is smallest din nung tatlong factors natin. So para makuha mo yung total effective flange width, which is the B sub F, what you need to do here is you need to add these two overhang flange po natin and then yung ating web of the beam, yung span nung nasa rectangular section natin. So kapag pinag-add nyo po yan, makukuha natin dito yung effective flange width or the B sub F. So yan ay kapag interior beam. Kapag ang beam naman natin ay exterior beam, ibig sabihin lang po na may iba lang po yung pag-qualify po natin sa ating overhang flange po natin. So first is 6 times of the peak of the slab. So yan yung ating first qualification. Second qualification po natin or second factor po natin is the clear span between the beams. And lastly, yung ating clear span of the length ng ating beam. So this one is over 12 kapag exterior beam. Kapag interior beam, this is over 8. So yan lang naman yung pinagkaiba when you are considering an exterior beam. Ngayon, let's further emphasize kung anong ibig sabihin ng ating L sub n dito. So dito class, kapag sinabi nating L sub n or the clear span of the length of the length of the beam, so ito po yung i-consider natin. So kapag sinabi kong clear span, ibig sabihin po nun class yung interior distance lang po, no? So we will not consider here center to center or yung dulo to dulo na span natin. Yung nasa interior lang po. Kaya po siya tinawag na clear span. Okay? So now, naintindihan na po natin kung paano natin mag-qualify kung ano yung magiging effective flange width po natin. Ngayon, we will now proceed on the computation of the moment capacity ng mga T-beams natin. Ang kinagandaan kasi dito sa topic na ito, since this is a subpart of a non-rectangular beams, magkakaroon lang tayo ng dalawang cases when we are having a T-beam. So first case natin dito is when the consideration of the length of the rectangular stress block is less than the thickness of the slab. So ibig sabihin lang po nun, yung value ng ating A ay hindi pa siya lalagpas dito sa ating sa ating offset dimension, which is the thickness of the slab. Actually, nagagawa na din natin to from the previous sample problems po natin. Okay? But in this case, we will further elaborate, no? So that magkakaroon tayo dito ng mas systematized na solution when it comes sa analysis natin. So first case natin, so ibig sabihin lang po nun, hindi po lalagpas yung value ng A sa thickness ng ating slab. So that yung magiging treatment natin sa pag-compute ng nominal moment capacity is just simply the typical formula na ginagamit natin sa rectangular beam. Okay? So of course, yung atong highlighted na pink na ito, this is your area of compression, which is, yan po yung gagamitin natin dito sa formula na ito. Okay? So of course, we need to consider here the moment arm, no? So yung moment arm natin dito, this is just simply the effective depth minus A over 2 or the half of the length of the rectangular stress block natin. So yan yung makukuha natin ditong moment arm for this one. Okay, so yan yung ating first case. No? So yung second case natin dito, which is this one. No? So yung second case naman natin, kapag yung value ng A is now greater than the thickness of the slab. Okay? Ibig sabihin lang po niyan, class, is you will now consider shears, lalo na sa ating area of compression block, you will consider here A2 rectangle. So yung una, yung first rectangle natin, yung nasa itaas, etong nasa slab na ito. Pangalawa ay yung nasa baba. Okay? So ibig sabihin lang po niyan, para makuha mo yung nominal moment capacity natin, dalawang moment po yung kailangan ninyong idagdag. So yung una, etong nasa itaas, pangalawa naman ay yung nasa baba. You need to add them all using this derived formula. So yung mga pinapakita ko na sa inyo dito sa formula na ito, mga derived formulas na po yan. Okay? That you can use already kapag nakakita na kayo ng isang TP. Okay? So, ibig sabihin lang po nito, class, yung first term dito sa nominal moment capacity natin, this is the bending moment or the nominal moment strength dito sa ating flange. While yung second term natin, which is this one, ito naman ay para sa web. Kasi nga, alam nga naman natin na yung area of compression is, ano na siya, irregular shape na po siya. So, para matukoy natin yung kanyang bending moment, so we can separate it into two pieces. So, palagi naman dalawang piraso yan. So, yung una, yung nasa flange, yung pangalawa naman ay nasa web. Okay? So, of course, add nyo lang sila para makuha na natin dito yung total moment capacity. If the case is the value of A is greater than the thickness of the slab or the H sub F.